Hey, leuk dat je weer kijkt en welkom bij weer een nieuw interview van Crypto Benelux. Het was even een tijdje stil geweest natuurlijk, maar ja goed, het nieuwe jaar, alles zat er even tussen. Ik ben heel druk met MCS en daaruit komen natuurlijk heel veel interviews voort. Zo ook met Fluffy Pony binnenkort, dat hebben jullie kunnen lezen in het persbericht. Maar voor nu, Jonas Lamis, de CEO van StakerDAO en natuurlijk een rijke historie bij Tezos. Tezos, het project wat destijds $230 miljoen heeft opgehaald in een ICO, heeft nu uiteindelijk zijn tentakels gespreid. Het is allemaal in volle gang, dingen worden gebouwd. We gaan het heel diep hebben over Tezos zelf, over StakerDAO, over de miljarden aan vastgoedassets die voorbereid worden, over de STO's, over de security tokens, waar Tezos een enorme rol in gaat spelen, en over alle ontwikkelingen. Wat hebben ze nou eigenlijk gebouwd? En wat is StakerDAO? Want StakerDAO, daar gaat het eigenlijk voornamelijk om. Hè? DeFi 2.0, eigenlijk gewoon DeFi on steroids. Dit wordt zeer interessant, dus ik zal zeggen, ga er goed voor zitten, pak een bak koffie en tot de volgende. Hi guys, and thanks for tuning in again. And like you heard in the intro, today we've got Jonas. And Jonas, well, very welcome for first. And can you please introduce yourself a bit?
Yes, hello there. Thank you for having me, Robert, on your channel here. My name is Jonas. Yeah, my name is Jonas Lamis, and I am the founder and CEO of a new crypto-based financial services provider called StakerDAO. And
yes.
So that's what we're going to talk about, StakerDAO. Yes. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about Tezos today as well.
Absolutely.
StakerDAO is built on Tezos. And I'll give you a little bit of background about myself, and then we can jump into it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, for the record, because people like us, at some point, we get in touch with the cryptocurrencies with all different stories. So I'm curious how it all started. When was your first touch with cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, totally. So my background is very entrepreneurial. I live in Palo Alto, California, which is where Stanford University is. It's in a suburb of San Francisco, so in the Bay Area. And over the last 20 years or so, I've been a part of a number of different venture-backed software companies. Not crypto-oriented per se, but these are kind of more like business-to-business, SaaS-hosted type of products, some of which have been successful, some of which haven't. But I've spent a lot of time understanding how to build and run startups, essentially.
Yes.
I had one company that was in the AI space that was acquired in the fall of 2016. And when right after that acquisition, I kind of poked my head up and looked around to see what was going on in the industry and what I'd missed. And what I discovered is that I had missed Ethereum.
Oh, okay.
So back in 2013, I had dabbled in Bitcoin a little bit. Coinbase had just launched as a company, and they had taken offices basically right next door to the company that I was in at that point in time. And so I bought a couple of Bitcoin through Coinbase back in 2013, but I didn't know anything about cryptocurrencies back then, and I kind of ignored it through my AI startup. But in late 2016, I looked around, I saw this amazing Ethereum ecosystem that was evolving, and I started reading white papers. And one of the white papers that I came across was the Tezos white paper.
All right.
And having done some research, then I saw that there were several investors out here in the Bay that were early investors in Tezos. One was Olaf Carlson-Wee from Polychain Capital, and the other was Tim Draper from Draper Ventures. And those were both people that I respected their investment strategies. And so I got really into Tezos, read the white paper, got excited about the features that Arthur Brightman had discussed in the white paper, how it could potentially be a next generation blockchain built on many of the principles of Bitcoin and Ethereum, but having a brand new method of consensus with proof of stake and some other features from a governance perspective that I thought would solve potentially some of the forking and other issues like that we were seeing emerging in the Bitcoin community, and of course the Ethereum community as well.
Yes, of course.
And, yeah, totally. So I after I got done with the white paper in early 2017, I found the chat group that the Tezos people were on. There was about 10 people on a Slack channel back in the day. I reached out to the founder, Arthur, and told him that I thought that Tezos was going to need a big, vibrant community built around it, and that I was interested in diving into that. And he said, I can't do justice with his French accent, but he basically said, "Hey, do whatever you want. This is a decentralized project, essentially." So I went off and launched a website called Tezos.community, which kind of became the first website where we had a discussion forum and people were kind of publicly talking about ideas related to Tezos. And I started doing some videos on YouTube about it and writing blog posts and things like that. Got really excited about the fundraiser that was coming up. Launched a Twitter handle, which is the @Tezos community Twitter handle. And then the fundraiser for Tezos happened, which was the summer of 2017. And I think it raised way more money than anybody thought it was going to raise.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, it was really large. It ended up raising, I think, $232 million equivalent.
Yes.
And at the time, the white paper and the business plan basically said like a $20 million raise was the moonshot, right? So, it was very, very, very much a surprising event, at least from my perspective. So then after that, we all thought that Tezos was getting down to business from an engineering perspective. I hosted among the first meetups for Tezos out here it was the first one out here in the Bay Area, which was in August, I think, of 2017. But then we started hearing rumblings about problems with the Tezos Foundation. This is a well-documented piece of history in the Tezos lore, but essentially there was a disagreement that emerged among the principals, and it ended up really holding the Tezos fundraiser funds for ransom, if you will. I wouldn't say it wasn't a total ransom, but things got locked up in a pretty significant way. And so at that point in time, there was a group of kind of community leaders emerging, and we all kind of got together and plotted about how can we help Tezos get out of this mess. One of the community leaders, Ryan Jesperson, took point on it, and we created a second foundation called the T2 Foundation that we were prepared to offer as an alternative to the Tezos Foundation, so that Arthur and his team could launch the blockchain there. And through all of that, working with Olaf at Polychain, who was pretty instrumental in this as well, the community managed to get new leadership in the Tezos Foundation in the winter of 2017 going into 2018, and the project basically from a funds perspective got back on track at that point.
Yes.
The engineering team was always cranking away on it regardless, but the funds started flowing in earnest really in the spring of 2018, which was great. We launched a nonprofit in the United States called the Tezos Commons, which started giving out grants and running meetups and things like that. And by the time spring rolled around, I was trying to figure out how could I, have a longer term participation in the Tezos ecosystem and create a business that was sustainable in it. And I discovered the world of becoming a validator in the proof of stake ecosystem. And so I paired up with some of my engineering pals out here in Silicon Valley, and we launched a Tezos Baker, as we call them, which is what Tezos calls it. It's validator. Yeah. So in the spirit of true French patisseries, we have bakers. And so Tezos, that bakery became what is known today as Tezos Capital.
Mm-hmm.
And when the mainnet, well, it was called the beta net, but the kind of the main code base went live on July 1st, 2018. We had we were one of maybe a handful, 7 or 8 bakers who were ready to go and create a service for community members who wanted to start staking and delegating their Tez in the ecosystem. And so we rapidly grew to be the largest delegation service in the Tezos ecosystem over kind of the first 6 months as the community was spinning up and new people were becoming familiar with it. So fast forward to kind of this spring,
Yeah.
last spring, the spring of 2019, lots more bakers in the Tezos ecosystem. In fact, today there's over 450 different bakers running. These are the folks who make blocks and hold consensus.
Yeah.
And so it's by far one of the most decentralized blockchains out there from a block production perspective. And as a result of that, I started thinking about the financial, the synthetic financial assets that are going to emerge in this proof of stake space. We have kind of layer 1 coins, but the question was, some people want positions in Cosmos, some people want positions in Decred, some people want positions in Algorand, some people want positions in Tezos, some people want positions in all of them.
Yeah.
And the question is, that's a lot of work to do to manage positions and all those different things. And so we started thinking about, how can we make products that will allow people to participate in these layer 1 networks, but not necessarily have to be, computer science majors in order to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started talking again with the Polychain guys and some folks in the Tezos ecosystem, some validators from Cosmos, some folks at Coinbase. And at the end of the day, we all kind of agreed that creating a DAO that would be using a lot of the governance knowledge that we gained from Tezos would be really awesome, but also a DAO that could be built on a multi-token model like MakerDAO had already pioneered would be awesome.
Yeah.
So really kind of standing on those 2 projects, on MakerDAO from a multi-token governance perspective, Tezos from an on-chain governance perspective. We put both of those ideas together and decided to launch StakerDAO.
Yes, I saw it, and I saw also that you had like a product presentation back in October at the Coinbase headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
And there you started really to reach out to the world from, guys, this is our plan, we're going to begin. And that's the moment when I realized there's much happening on Tezos at the moment. Because before we skip to the security point of the token, I see that Tezos is really setting the tone on this. They are making really much security standards at the moment, and that's basically if you take a look to Ethereum, it's basically an whole other protocol if I see it like this. So you started and you did the Decred research, the Tezos research, of course, and the Cosmos research. What can we think about those researches? Yeah.
So when we started figuring out how we knew that we wanted to bring some new products to market, and we knew that we wanted to build on some of the great DeFi concepts that were already emerging in Ethereum.
Yes.
But we also knew that our small team were not the experts on everything.
No, of course.
Right. And so we were trying to figure out, do we want to just pick one product and launch one product and be the experts on that one product? Or do we want to create a business model that would allow many people to participate and bring their expertise? And by contributing that expertise, they could also help make the decisions about how the business moves forward. And if collectively that group makes good decisions, then they could be potentially rewarded with profit from those decisions that was being generated, right? And that's sort of a classic tale about how people are thinking about DAOs, or some of the DAOs today at least. And so naturally a DAO model made sense for us to research and to bring to market. And basing it on Tezos was a serious undertaking as well. There's a lot of new products and projects that are launching on Tezos these days, many of them in the security token space, as you mentioned.
Yes.
A lot of billions and billions of dollars of real estate projects are starting to get tokenized on Tezos.
I saw.
But when we were thinking about this in 2019, there was not a lot of work already done in that space, at least not publicly available. So it's definitely a big decision to take. But because of our expertise in Tezos, and because we knew that it has been successful over the last almost 2 years in governing itself. It's had 3 successful on-chain upgrades that were done in a decentralized way through the governance mechanism. And as a result of that, we felt comfortable in it being a longer term platform that we could base a security-based DeFi product on. At the same time, and I would just also add a couple other key reasons why Tezos is interesting. It's got the best decentralized governance model. It has a really strong set of technologies based on OCaml, for example, for formal verification of smart contracts, which the kind of things that investment banks and hedge funds and rocket scientists want to see, to reduce the risk of bugs in their code over time.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And then it's hard to discount the Tezos Foundation as well, which, although is fairly quiet in the whole scheme of the crypto ecosystem, in fact carries a very large stick, in the sense that it has $1 billion plus of assets these days that it has under management from the fundraiser initially and from its share of Tezos. And it has a very professional set of leaders that have been put in place both in Switzerland and in New York with their affiliate, the Tocqueville Group, that are focused on the long-term success of the Tezos ecosystem, and long-term meaning decades of success for it. And so when you wrap all that together, it was kind of obvious to us that was probably the right platform to pick for running our governance model.
Yeah, I couldn't say it more better than this. Like I mentioned earlier, I was a bit surprised when I saw what's really happening at Tezos, because for the people who know me, I'm living daily in the space, and then it came to me like boom, everything together from this is Tezos, and I felt a little bit awkward by it, but then I learned about StakerDAO. I've got a huge DeFi interest. Of course, the MakerDAO bell is the first one who is ranking here, but then I dived a little bit deeper in it. But now, to the people who are watching and listening, to explain in the basic, what is exactly a DAO?
Well, we have our version of what a DAO is, and in our version of a DAO, let's call it a for-profit DAO, right? So essentially what we're building is our DAO token is called our Staker token, and it runs on Tezos, right? It's a security token using their kind of the current nomenclature that is held by investors. Yeah. And those investors participate in the governance of how the company moves forward. So if you are a Staker token holder, you are responsible for a couple key things. One is that you elect the Staker Council. And the Staker Council are the voting members of our on-chain governance process. right? And currently there are 5 Staker council members, and those 5 Staker council members hold 1-year terms. And so on an annual basis, all Staker token holders have an opportunity to elect new council members.
Yes.
Right. And the other thing as a Staker token holder that you need to do from a governance perspective is you need to participate in our proposal development process. So I know you had a slide up earlier, or part of our website up earlier, that showed the proposal cycle that's on our website. Yeah. And so the proposal cycle for us is essentially what happens is it happens every month. We have a proposal cycle, so 12 times a year, and our proposal process has 4 stages to it. So it has 4 weeks. In the first week, what happens is a proposal is submitted on chain. So in the prior months, Staker token holders are working with the operations team, and they're coming up with ideas for new products they want to launch or how they want to change existing products, things like that. Those get formalized into a proposal, and then that proposal is published on chain during the first week. During the second week, discussions happen between the token holders, the council, and the operations team to cover all of the elements of that proposal and make sure that the consensus is this is something we want to do informally.
Yes.
During the third week is when voting happens. And in the voting process is each of the 5 council members gets to cast a vote on chain using their council key that they hold. And a majority of council members will approve that proposal.
Okay.
And then in the fourth week, if a majority of council holders approve the proposal, then the operations team takes over here and they start implementation of what was proposed.
All right, so that's basically the governance model.
That's the governance model, yep.
Yes, and then what is StakerDAO actually doing after that? So then the process is going to run. Then there's some type of business movement, what's going on. How we can see it for like, the non-technical guys out there.
Yeah, sure. So the question is, that sounds like a cool governance model, but what are you going to govern?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So the first product that StakerDAO intends to launch is actually going to be described and published on chain this week. So here we are at the beginning of February, right? Yeah. And we're going to be submitting the February proposal this week for everyone to see. And what that proposal is going to be is for a new synthetic token that we're calling the blend token.
I read something about it. Yeah.
Yes, and the blend token basically is what we're calling a tracker token, meaning it's not quite a stable coin, but it's tracking a basket of proof of stake tokens. Yes. So you could imagine, a basket that has some Tezos in it and some Cosmos in it and some Decred in it and some Algorand in it, for example. All 4 of the highest quality proof of stake networks out there per an algorithm that has been developed by the community on evaluating what a high quality network is. And all this will kind of be revealed in the proposal as it comes out on chain. And obviously those tokens are one of the cool things about proof of stake is those tokens are generating rewards, right? So validators are validating, rewards are being generated. And in this model for the blend token, what happens is that there's a basket of these proof of stake tokens that Staker holds, and that basket generates rewards, and then those rewards are used to buy back and burn these blend tokens from the blend token holders. Yeah. And so by doing that, you have a single token that you're holding, but it kind of tracks the value of the underlying network as it changes and as the rewards are generated for it by not by receiving a distribution, but instead by having it being deflationary. There's
Yeah.
fewer of these blend tokens out there as this burn model happens. And so this will kind of all be more detailed in the proposal, but this blend token is really the first token that we're going to put through our governance process and then launch.
All right, interesting.
And now one clever thing, or you may consider it clever, but one of the things that we're doing with the blend token in particular is that it is going to be launched as an ERC20 token.
Oh, that's a bit odd, a bit strange.
Right. Even so, while we think Tezos is a great platform for governance, we also think Ethereum has a really vibrant and growing DeFi ecosystem.
Absolutely true.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we think it's possible over time that this blend token could become a primitive in the Ethereum DeFi ecosystem.
Yeah, okay. Thinking like 2 steps forward.
Yeah, exactly. Now, that's not to say that something like Blend won't also be available on Tezos. In fact, we're already thinking about the March proposal and how do we provide, atomic swaps for something between Ethereum and Tezos, for example. Those are all the cool kinds of things that could be on the roadmap in the future. And so, but right now what we're focused on is, now that we've got StakerDAO launched, now that the Staker token governance process has done its first full cycle and then run one governance process in January, now we're getting serious about the first economic product we're launching in February. We're going to announce in February through governance, and then it probably actually will launch in March. And then it's up to the token holders, the Staker token holders, really to decide what they want to do next after that.
Yes, and for the fact that I missed it, that blend token, how are people going to get in touch with the blend token? Because you mentioned also the Staker token, but there are 2 different things.
They are. Yeah. So the blend token itself will most likely be done through a registered offering. It appears to be that it will be organized under a what we call a Reg S offering, meaning it will be available in certain jurisdictions, not in others. It will be sold to certain types of investors and not in others. It won't be generally available from an initial offering perspective.
Yes, okay. So they will come at the market any day through first of the people who are you showing now, but then at the end in circulation. But then you've got the Staker token, and it's kind of the same, the same story.
Yeah, the Staker token, while on the blend side, people will buy it and hold it because they get a ability to basically participate in a synthetic version of the underlying proof of stake networks, right? There's not necessarily a profit element to that, right? No. That's just that above and beyond how you would do if you normally held the underlying tokens, essentially.
Yes.
But there is a profit motive over here on the Staker side, because the Staker process is actually going to charge a fee of the blend token holders for managing that process for them, right?
And that's why it's a security.
That's right. And so that fee is going to, it flows over to the Staker token side, and also goes through a similar type of model, a buyback and burn model on the Staker token side. And so we want those Staker tokens to have an expectation of profit, and we want those tokens to be treated as securities. Right. And so, and so those will, as far as we can tell, how regulatory models work today, those will always be akin to owning a share in the company.
Yes.
And so, who knows what kind of markets will emerge for security tokens. I think there's a lot of companies aiming for security token exchanges these days. There's not a lot of stuff out there yet. There's a couple, T0 and a couple of others right now. But really, we think the staker token holders today are in it for the long term. Most of them are either, they're either venture capital groups or qualified investors, family offices. And some people from the validator community are also individual angels who are participating. But those guys, they're not looking for any kind of quick buck. It's something that they want to participate for the long term in.
But I think that's the way 2020 will go, because we all have seen the cowboy atmosphere. But we have all seen this is not the future, this is not going to work out on every project or whatsoever. And I'll think if you are starting with, let's call them angels, then I'll think that you have a solid background for the fundamentals also. And we mentioned it a couple of times in the Telegram chat from StakerDAO. Like, when do you are a credible investor? Well, it's in the USA. It's different than here in Europe, for example. Here in Holland, maybe I'm wrong, but here in Holland, if you have like a healthy income, then you don't have negatives, like by a bank or something, then it's all fine. But in the USA, it's a lot different, I know.
Yeah, totally. But, that's the great thing about crypto, these new emerging crypto models, is because there's so much interest from around the world. You can pick and choose which jurisdictions you want to participate in, and as long as you follow what those jurisdictions say, you can open it up to participation from different countries.
Yeah, but I see a movement also. We mentioned it in the beginning, you see a lot of security token activity now at Tezos. That has a reason, I'll think if you have the great mindset, if you have the best intentions for the long run, then you decide to do it the official way. And when a token promise you something, for example, you get a thing of return instead of that, then it's basically a security token. Or if it holds a share of a company or a project, it's basically security. And the most projects we have seen in 2017, for example, they didn't take it too seriously. And like you said already, you've got like a bunch of people who are going to gambling with it. It's fun because you can raise quick money, but you don't have the angels on your side when you have to validate your network or to run your community or elsewhere. There is no community back by then. So one of the principles here for StakerDAO is we think that over the long term, everything that can be tokenized will be tokenized. Yes, I agree. Totally. Yes, I'm seeing it happening now with the esports right under my nose. It's already happening, and like you mentioned, real estate is sniffing into Tezos already. Mostly we are not really aware of that in the public because not everything is thrown outside yet, of course, but we feel it, it's already happening. And to finish this, I don't want you, I'm not going to ask about details, but when will the public know something more about StakerDAO, about the progress, about when it all starts? Can you give us something?
We're trying to over deliver and under promise these days, I guess you'd say. But I see on your screen you have the our StakerDAO Agora page up right there. So if you click where it says 4 on that one, you just go back to that previous slide for just a second there.
This one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, you see where the number 4 drop down is?
The number 4 drop down. Yeah, here.
Keep going to the left, farther left. Yeah, right there. Yeah, if you select let's say number 3. Or number
Implementation.
2. So I mean, or
Voting.
number 2. Voting. So here you can see the first proposal 001, that was launched on Tezos in July or in January.
Yeah.
You can go through here and you can see who voted for it and that it was approved and what the content of it was. And so if you want to kind of really dig into StakerDAO, you can look at our Agora site, which is linked from our homepage, and you can follow along in what we're doing.
All right.
And then there's also some good blog posts that we've written that kind of explain all this.
All right. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm also excited about Tezos. I think 2020 will be a big surprise for the whole crypto sphere in general. We are all keeping an eye on Ethereum, of course, with the whole DeFi movement. We're keeping an eye on Tezos because it blew me literally away when I saw what I missed. The details are just, but Tezos is not screaming, you know. They are not screaming to the outside world, we are doing this, we are doing that.
Yeah, and I would also say you haven't missed anything.
No, right, but
we're very early here in this whole crypto development cycle. This is a 20-year cycle we're on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of us, every single one of us who's talking about it today, we are all the early adopters, right? It doesn't matter if you started in 2012 or if you started in 2020, you're still an early adopter.
Yes.
So the majority has yet to cross the chasm and come to crypto, and that's going to happen over the next decade.
Yeah, I'm aware of that also. And now, like StakerDAO, it's the beginning. It's I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, it could happen that I'm gonna call you again in about like 6 months or so.
Let's do it. Yeah, anytime.
Look where we are to then. But
as I mentioned, I'm gonna come visit Holland here in a couple months, and my visit where my ancestors are from, apparently. So maybe we'll get together. And,
everybody visits Holland.
Yeah, indeed.
Mr. McAfee also said he come nearby Amsterdam sooner or later, so take cover.
Yeah, indeed.
Just keep in touch. We keep in touch with you. We are already in your communities, on Telegram especially. Yeah. And let's enjoy the ride. Also for you and for the crew.
Great.
Enjoy the ride. Not only the hard work, but enjoy it also, because it's once in a lifetime that you're going to see that from the beginning. A movement like this, innovation like this. Yeah, we are all looking forward. Thank you for your time, Jonas.
Great, Robert. Thanks a lot for hosting these great videos.
Yeah, let's see where we are in 6 months.
Okay. Cheers.